We start the episode at Magilla Gorilla's store. There, Jabberjaw and Loopy-de-Loop are being overworked. Soon, Jabberjaw gets so overwhelmed that she kicks the customers out of the store before demanding that she and Loopy get a break. Meanwhile, Mayor Huckleberry Hound himself is bombarded with complaints or questions and scares some people away with his horn. Mayor Huckleberry tells Mr. Jinx that he needs a break at the beach, but Mr. Jinx reminds him that he has a town to run. Upon deciding to take the town with him and learning that today is Moby Dick's birthday, Huckleberry Hound announces that everyone will be going to the beach, causing the Jellystone residents to put on their swimsuits before racing to the destination. As everybody was heading to the beach, there is a subplot about Yogi and Boo Boo impressing two of the teen angels. Loopy-de-Loop and Jabberjaw reach the beach, but it is soon overtaken by all the citizens of Jellystone. Jabberjaw and Loopy have trouble finding a spot on the beach, and they only find a spot with sharp, wet rocks. When Jabberjaw tries to say awful crowd, she and Loopy get splashed with seaweed, and they get splashed so much that they look like ugly sea monsters. Luckily, this gave Jabberjaw the idea to scare everybody away from the beach, but it doesn't work. When Loopy-de-Loop threatens to kiss the Jellystone residents on the lips, they all fled in fear, leaving Jabberjaw and Loopy to take over the beach, though they forced Johnny Quest and Haji to stay with them. Jabberjaw and Loopy-de-Loop enjoy the beach all to themselves, while Johnny Quest and Haji are their servants. In Jellystone's park, everyone is upset that they couldn't be at the beach, but Mayor Huckleberry Hound makes a motivational speech to take back the beach before asking everyone for ideas. Thanks to Peter Potamus, Mayor Huckleberry had the idea that everybody should throw everything at the sea monsters, but they stink at doing it. Loopy-de-Loop and Jabberjaw retaliate, leading to a beach war with falling coconuts, a sandcastle, and a wooden fort, and everybody getting stuck in a mud trap, though Yogi Bear and Boo Boo made it past and continue their journey. The beach war escalates when crabs are fired at the Jellystone residents. Johnny Quest and Haji both have a drama dilemma, and Yogi Bear and Boo Boo both reach the sea monsters only to fall overboard. Just when Jabberjaw thought she and Loopy won, a giant water balloon gets dropped on top of their heads, causing a giant splash that not only destroyed the sandcastle but also reveals that Jabberjaw and Loopy were the sea monsters, much to the shock of everyone. Jabberjaw and Loopy both jump on their knees as Jabberjaw says they're sorry as they only wanted a break. But Huckleberry Hound says everything's alright since everybody did take things a little too far. Suddenly, the giant whale named Moby Dick appears and is upset that everyone is on his beach on his birthday. Before Mayor Huckleberry can explain, Moby Dick flattens everybody, telling them not to ruin his birthday. The episode ends with everybody being flat as pancakes, with Loopy saying that they did get a break. Jabberjaw agrees and says that everything's broken. The end. The episode starts at the Jellystone school where Shazam was teaching ping pong as part of Role Model Day. After Shazam finished, Bobby Louie steps forward and introduces herself as a businesswoman. Augie Doggy became inspired as she daydreams of herself becoming a businesswoman. Bobby Louie talks about maximum business before asking anyone for any questions. An overexcited Augie Doggy asks multiple questions until everybody walks out of the school and asks Bobby Louie to be her mentor. Since mentoring a child could be a tax write-off, Bobby Louie accepts. Bobby Louie gets a call about something happening with the stocks, but she tells Augie Doggy and her friends to emulate an existing business before leaving in her helicopter. After Shag Rug, Yankee Doodle, and Augie Doggy all shout the coolest thing that they can think of, Augie Doggy decides that their business will be called Jetpack Karate Nugget Incorporated before they emulate the Chattanooga Cats restaurant, which was previously seen in episode 15. So far, the business was doing great and everybody was having a great time before Bobby Louie comes to see the business and praises Augie for what she's made. However, Bobby Louie tells Augie that her next step to business mastery is synergy. Using hamburgers as an example, Bobby Louie explains that if you synergize a hamburger with 2 and more hamburgers, you create a mega burger merger. Needing to go to a yacht meeting, Bobby Louie tells Augie Doggy to keep up the good work before leaving, and Augie Doggy thinks about synergy. Augie's business synergizes by acquiring Squidly's store, then acquiring Magilla Gorilla's store. Then, just like Disney, Augie's business starts buying out everything. At the Mudbug Cafe, Augie is confused that Shag Rug didn't show up, but Yankee Doodle said he is riding bikes with Lamsey and she plans to join them, asking Augie if she would also like to join. Augie Doggy says this time of day is their motivational aerobics seminar, but when Yankee Doodle points out that there's nothing left in Jellystone to acquire, Augie Doggy becomes desperate to acquire everything and impress Bobby Louie. Augie's obsession to acquire more combined with her 110 user-based experience transforms her into a giant floating big-headed businesswoman with a green eye in her forehead. Using her newfound powers, Augie Doggy slowly turns Jellystone into a corporate culture, with Mr. Jinx and Mayor Huckleberry Hound being scared at the possible fate. Yankee Doodle goes to Lamsey and Shag Rug to warn them, but Augie shows up to turn more of Jellystone into corporate culture, and her powers somehow don't affect Shag or Yankee. Bobby Louie herself is shocked as she says that Augie Doggy has attained the maximum level of business on the highest plane. Bobby Louie says Augie can either sell or continue to acquire forever before she tells Augie to stop. Augie becomes excited to show Bobby all the progress she made, but Bobby explains that expanding forever is not what businesswomen do, as they build up a successful business, then get paid a lot of money to walk away from it. Bobby then buys Jetpack Karate Nugget from Augie by giving her a check, which turns Augie back to normal. Augie's friends are surprised at how much money they have, and they discuss how they're gonna spend it. Turns out Bobby Louie had sinister intentions, as it was revealed that everything is going according to her plan, followed by her planning to not only control Jellystone but the rest of the world too, as the episode closes on her squinting sinister eyes. The episode ends by opening up to show Lamsey telling Bobby Louie an office joke, but she eye blasts him before the episode closes on her eyes again. The end. The episode begins at Magilla Gorilla's store, where Magilla Gorilla sings a musical number about himself being the one that keeps Jellystone's fashion amazing. Other Jellystone residents join the singing, and the musical ends with everyone saying that Magilla Gorilla knows how to dress to impress. Magilla asks Loopy-De-Loop and Jabberjaw if they like the song, but they were too busy looking at Jabberjaw's phone. Jabberjaw and Loopy were both watching Snagglepuss's new show Jelly or Smelly, where Snagglepuss was interviewing Squiddly Diddly. Squiddly Diddly shows off her new fashion design, which is four-legged pants that somehow impresses Snagglepuss so much that he passes out. A disappointed Magilla says he was trying to sell pants for years, but only he and a few others even wear pants in Jellystone. After believing that pants won't take off in Jellystone, especially the four-legged ones, Magilla leaves to get his feet waxed, but when he walks outside, he is horrified to see everybody wearing four-legged pants. Everybody in Jellystone is enjoying the four-legged pants, and if that wasn't bad enough for Magilla, Squiddly Diddly opens a four-legged pants depot next to Magilla's store. Magilla goes back inside his store to ask Loopy and Jabberjaw if they can believe what's happening, but after seeing that even they are wearing four-legged pants, he becomes so sad that he runs away crying. At the Barbera's grocery market, Magilla Gorilla came to drown his sorrows in cheese and crackers, but upon hearing Winsome Witch ask for pants, he offers her the pants he sells at his store. However, when it was revealed that Winsome Witch wanted the good pants that Squiddly wears, Magilla goes insane, believing since Squiddly's pants are trending, anything can trend. Magilla puts various food items on himself, creating a goofy food costume that he believes can trend like Squiddly's pants, asking everybody to join him. After Winsome Witch says that it's sad to see somebody who isn't hip anymore try to keep up with the trends, everybody leaves Magilla as he says that all he has is dressed to depressed, weeping as the screen fades to black. We fade back in to see Magilla Gorilla weeping on a bench until Jabberjaw and Loopy came. Things get worse when Jabberjaw reveals that Magilla's store stock was replaced with Squiddly's pants, which not only caused Magilla Gorilla to walk away after he angrily says that he can't take this anymore, but chaos erupts in Jellystone because of Squiddly's pants. Anyone who's wearing the four-legged pants is either in danger or is stuck, and after getting stuck themselves when reaching Squiddly, Jabberjaw asks Squiddly to go get Magilla Gorilla as he'll know what to do. Squiddly Diddly refuses until Loopy-de-Loop threatens to unfollow her on Jellygran. At the Mudbug Cafe, Magilla Gorilla was drinking many milkshakes to ease his sorrows, and Squiddly Diddly came to ask him for help. Magilla didn't feel like helping as nobody needs his fashion advice anymore and he wants more milkshakes, but after some questionable encouragement from Squiddly Diddly and Paw Rug making a beautiful tear-shedding gibberish speech, Magilla Gorilla decides that he'll save the town. In order to deal with a fashion disaster this big, Magilla will have to pull out the ultimate weapon. So he goes back to his store to put on giant golden hand gauntlets called high-tech fashion gloves, which can make a person fashionably amazing with just a hand clench. Using the high-tech fashion gloves, Magilla Gorilla turns all the four-legged pants-wearing citizens into fashionable people. Jabberjaw and Loopy-de-Loop don't get hot makeovers because Magilla says they are perfect just the way they are. Even though he isn't entirely over his existential crisis, Magilla says that nobody in Jellystone is a better fighter for fashion than him. Jabberjaw and Loopy weren't listening as they were looking at the phone again. Squiddly Diddly starts a new trend by introducing a giant hat that covers eyes, which not only causes Snagglepuss to pass out, but Jabberjaw and Loopy are seen wearing their own, causing Magilla to go get another milkshake. The episode ends with Magilla Gorilla walking across town while it's all in chaos as the Jellystone citizens wear Squiddly's giant hat. The end. The episode begins at Magilla Gorilla's store. There, Wally Gator was struggling to find the right bow tie as he doesn't want to pick the wrong one. Deciding he needs more time to think about his decision, Wally walks to the front door to say what he might do tonight, only for an impatient Loopy-de-Loop to close the door and the store as well. Next, Magilla Gorilla hops on the scene dressed up as a vampire, getting ready for the horror movie marathon even though he's afraid of those, because he doesn't want to miss this opportunity to wear a cape. Loopy says she's happy to close up the store tonight with her best friend Jabberjaw. Magilla Gorilla goes to the horror movie festival where after sitting down he listens to a long spooky introduction from Snagglepuss. Before the first horror movie even starts, Magilla Gorilla is frightened by the title card as he quavers in fear. Back at Magilla's store, Loopy and Jabberjaw were both playing and talking until they see somebody trying to get in. Looking at the cameras, it's apparent that a thief is trying to break in. So Jabberjaw uses the phone to call Magilla Gorilla and the cops, but nobody answers. Left with no other choice, Jabberjaw says she and Loopy will have to defend the store by themselves. But while Jabberjaw was discussing how they'll take the thief down, he breaks in and the girls set up traps to take him down. Meanwhile, Magilla Gorilla was so scared by the horror movies that he cries while he questions why he does this to himself. Back with the girls, Loopy-de-Loop and Jabberjaw see the thief sneaking around and they chase him. During the pursuit, Loopy and Jabber get caught in their own traps, but they get the thief by bonking him on the head. It is shown that the burglar is no longer alive, proven by no blood pulse, so the girls try to hide him, but Magilla Gorilla came back. Loopy and Jabber quickly hide the body by throwing it on a chair and covering it with a white cloth. Magilla Gorilla says he came back because the horror movie marathon was too scary for him, and Jabberjaw explains that she and Loopy-de-Loop took care of a burglar, showing Magilla an empty chair. Magilla Gorilla thinks they're trying to scare him until he sees the burglar's ghost. The spirit burglar was escaping, so Jabberjaw, Magilla Gorilla, and Loopy-de-Loop all suit up to go after it as the ghost disappears in a crowd. The gang all tangle with some innocent Jellystone citizens until the ghost was spotted. Upon hearing that there's a ghost burglar, the Jellystone residents all work together to fight it before ganging up on the ghost to take it down. When the thief got unmasked, it was revealed to be Wally Gator all along. When Jabberjaw asks Wally why he tried to break into the store, he explains that earlier today he accidentally took a bow tie without paying for it, and he was worried that they would think he stole it. Afterwards, Wally Gator puts on a disguise, waited until nightfall, and thought he could sneak the bow tie back in without anybody noticing because he didn't want anyone to think he was a criminal. Loopy-de-Loop asks Wally Gator why he didn't have a pulse when she touched his wrist, and Wally Gator explains that he doesn't have any pulses because he has an artificial heart that pushes blood through his circulatory system at a constant rate. Despite Wally's good intentions, Touche Turtle arrests him for breaking and entering. Jabberjaw's glad that everybody's okay, followed with Loopy saying that Jabberjaw had her exciting night after all. After saying he's glad that ghosts aren't real, Magilla Gorilla throws the white cloth, which causes it to land on Wally Gator before the Jellystone residents beat him up again. The episode ends with Magilla Gorilla, Loopy De Loop, and Jabberjaw all nervously walking away until they're all off screen. The end. The episode begins with Lippy the Lion and Hardy Har Har discussing where they left their treasure. The two elder people try retracing their steps around town, but every time they say treasure, it alerts the Jellystone citizens. On the news, Snagglepuss states that everyone in Jellystone is looking for the treasure, with Lippy and Hardy talking about how valuable their treasure is. Yogi Bear, Cindy Bear, and Boo Boo all find the most moist place in Peterpotamus's bedroom, telling the hippo to tell them where Lippy and Hardy was. After the bears force the information out of him, Peterpotamus reveals that Lippy and Hardy were arguing with a small man about something valuable. Loopy De Loop and Jabberjaw find a dark and loud place at the Jellystone Theater. Shazam denies giving information about Lippy and Hardy until Jabberjaw scares off the customers with her feminine wiles. Yankee Doodle, Shag Rug, and Augie Doggy all go to Jellystone's beach boardwalk where all the best food is served. After buying multiple caricatures from Dirty Dog, he explains that Lippy and Hardy were wearing towels being chased out of a restaurant and they came to him for some clothes. On the Breaking News Treasure Edition, Snagglepuss announces that the treasure hunt is getting more and more intense. Thanks to Jabberjaw, everybody shares their ideas and clues that they found, wondering where Lippy the Lion and Hardy Har Har would go while wearing towels and eating something. A commercial about Morocco Mole advertising a restaurant called Sauna Sweats and Sandwiches plays, and the 8 characters go there. Luckily, the treasure was there, but after noticing that it's locked, they sneak it across town back to Lippy and Hardy where they have the key. When the treasure was opened, it was revealed to be Inch High from Inch High Private Eye. The discovery causes Lippy and Hardy to remember everything as they tell everybody what happened. Yesterday, they went to their favorite dining establishments to celebrate the 80th anniversary of their debut comedy album. As a tradition, Lippy and Hardy would play their album for everyone to hear, but when Inch High came to tell them to lower the volume because their comedy is bad, Lippy and Hardy locked him up in the treasure chest so he can hear the music inside. The incident caused Morocco Mole to call the police, making the elder couple flee. Lippy and Hardy stop by Dirty Dog for some kitty clothes before running into a movie theater with a scary movie playing, and since the police were so scared about the movie, they stopped following Lippy and Hardy before running away. Lippy and Hardy cherish the album they made together, so to them, it's a treasure. Augie Doggy herself treasures the adventure she had, but Yogi Bear was upset that he didn't get to open anything until he opens a chip bag and says it's the best day of his life. The episode ends with Snagglepuss concluding the news and the story before Inch High asks somebody to call his family, only for the treasure chest to be closed on him as Snagglepuss looks back in disgust. The end. The episode begins at Jellystone's Dock Food Market, where Doggy Daddy was ordering a corn on the stick for himself and a small one for his daughter Augie Doggy. Danger arrives when the sirens scream and the giant purple monkey grape ape arises from the water, eating all the food he can see in his path. Augie Doggy is scared that Grape Ape might eat her, but Doggy Daddy says he'll teach Grape Ape some manners. Hearing from nearby, Mayor Huckleberry Hound says Doggy Daddy's parenting skills can save the town, claiming that only Doggy Daddy can stop Grape Ape's daily walks of terror. At first, Doggy Daddy was nervous, but when his daughter says that she always knew he was a big strong hero, he decides to save the town, causing the Jellystone residents to rejoice. To celebrate, the town does a musical parade as Cindy listens, but as Grape Ape was eating more food, he overhears the parade before it ends with everybody cheering. When Grape Ape shows up, Doggy Daddy promised him a hug, kisses, and many other good things if he stops, but Grape Ape instead squishes him. Doggy Daddy was about to give up and let Grape Ape eat all the food, but when Augie Doggy gives him praises and compliments, he decides to keep going even though he might die, so Huckleberry Hound says they'll get him a fighting chance. Doggy Daddy and Huckleberry Hound go to Cindy Bear for help, but because she has the biggest brain in town, she knows what's going on, so she builds the Ape Daddy 5000 mech. Doggy Daddy is scared that he'll have to be firm and call Grape Ape a bad boy. The mech gets introduced to everyone, followed by Grape Ape being lowered with a giant banana. An orchestra starts playing as Doggy Daddy meets Grape Ape face to face, disguised as his dad. At first, Doggy Daddy was nervous to call out Grape Ape, but with some confidence, he reprimands Grape Ape for all the troubles he's caused, causing Grape Ape to freak out. From a few blocks away, Augie Doggy can see her dad calling out Grape Ape, telling him not to do this and not to do that. Just when Doggy Daddy was about to tell Grape Ape to go to his room, Augie Doggy asks her dad why he's being so mean. Doggy Daddy was trying to tell his daughter that the big monkey was being a bad boy, but Grape Ape took advantage of this and hit Doggy Daddy with a building, destroying the mech and severely injuring the dog father. Angered by her father being injured, Augie Doggy severely reprimands Grape Ape, calling him out for harming her dad and taking everyone's food around town. Backing Grape Ape to the Jellystone dock and causing him to jump in the water, Augie Doggy tells him to go to his room and learn empathy before he disappears, leading everyone in Jellystone to cheer. Augie Doggy tells her dad she forgives him for being so mean, and Doggy Daddy thanks her while he's in pain. The episode ends on a literal solid note when a member of the orchestra plays a happy trumpet tune. The end. The episode begins with Augie Doggy and Doggy Daddy watching 5,069 episodes of Scooby-Doo. When they run out of popcorn, Doggy Daddy leaves to get more, but he stumbles upon a green fog and sees many Jellystone citizens unconscious. A sad Yogi says he was playing paper airplanes with his best friend Boo Boo, with a flashback showing it. Mayor Huckleberry Hound and Mr. Jinx both wear masks trying to warn Yogi Bear and Doggy Daddy, but they both get knocked out after foolishly taking off their masks. Yogi and Doggy Daddy give exposition to why the smell isn't affecting them, with Mildew Wolf himself showing up, being unlucky and also not being affected by the smell. Mildew Wolf talks about the stink factory having a nuclear reactor that caused the stink, warning that if they don't stop the stink, Jellystone will be smelly forever. Doggy Daddy plans to spend his final moments with his daughter instead, but Yogi and Mildew smack him multiple times, telling him they have to save the town. At the stink factory, the trio sees a lot of people out of commission, but Jabberjaw has her nose plugged and kisses the unconscious ones instead of doing CPR. Mildew Wolf, Yogi Bear, and Doggy Daddy go through multiple challenges such as a hallway filled with cabbage, rotten eggs, and durian fruit, getting a woozy Captain Caveman to open the hatch with some traps being set off first, and after the hatch opens, the three characters fall down a pit before they reach the reactor. Mildew Wolf warns that touching the reactor will make you permanently stinky. Just then, Mildew Wolf thinks it is his fault with a flashback shown, then Yogi thinks it is his fault with a flashback shown, and Doggy Daddy realizes that it's all his fault with a flashback being shown. Taking responsibility for all their actions, the three Jellystone residents all work together to hold the reactor, causing it to be stabilized once more and suck in all the stink from around town. The town of Jellystone was sparkling in its former glory, and even the stink factory was sparkling. Augie Doggy calls and talks to her dad about Scooby-Doo as he, Yogi Bear, and Mildew Wolf will be in a glass cube for 2 weeks. The episode ends with Jabberjaw telling the boys that she can kiss their stink off, and the three characters gulp as they're gonna be kissed by Jabberjaw's chapped lips. The end. The episode starts on a split screen. We see the daily life of Boo Boo and Yogi and the daily life of Top Cat and Benny. Their day ends with Boo Boo reading Yogi Bear a bedtime story and Benny reading Top Cat a bedtime story. The next day, our characters ran out of cereal, so Boo Boo and Benny went to the market to get some, eventually crossing paths. Boo Boo and Benny share a lot of things in common, and after Benny had the idea to have more than one best friend, he and Boo Boo form a friendship. As for what they're going to do, they both agreed to do hibachi outdoor barbecue. Boo Boo discusses with Yogi while Benny discusses with Top Cat, and the four characters have a hibachi outdoor barbecue with Benny and Boo Boo showing off their chef skills. After the barbecue was over, Yogi Bear was eating ice cream while sitting on a bench with Top Cat, being happy at the relationship Boo Boo and Benny have. On the contrary, Top Cat believes they're getting along way too well that they're forgetting about him and Yogi. Yogi strongly disagrees, believing that nothing can break him and Boo Boo up. Later at Jellystone Hospital, Boo Boo wasn't around to help Yogi with Mildew Wolf's blood pressure. Yogi accidentally scares Mildew Wolf away with a snake arm squeezer and sees Boo Boo having such a great time with Benny that he forgot the life he had before this, making Yogi sad. At his home, a sad Yogi admits that Top Cat was right, followed with Top Cat suddenly appearing to tell Yogi he told him so. Yogi asks Top Cat for help on getting Boo Boo back, and Top Cat suggests that they break Boo Boo and Benny up. Luckily, Top Cat had a plan that involved multiple things, including $10, but the $10 are to be paid up front by Yogi. Boo Boo and Benny were playing a Pokemon-like card game called Laundry Battle, and then the Jellystone Friendship Express came with the conductors offering them a free ride. Benny and Boo Boo get on the train with Yankee Doodle riding on the back, and the train zooms across Jellystone's park. A little while later, Top Cat pulls the lever, causing the train to split on different tracks, separating Boo Boo and Benny before the conductors reveal themselves to be Yogi Bear and Top Cat. Lost and confused, Boo Boo asks what's going on, and Top Cat reveals that all of this was a convoluted scam to take Yogi's money. A heartbroken Boo Boo accuses everybody of setting him up and tells Top Cat that he's not going to let him keep that money, so he jumps on the other train and takes it. Top Cat chases and corners Boo Boo on the train roof, politely asking him to just hand over the money. Before a hopeless Boo Boo hands over the money, Benny snatches the dollar and calls out Top Cat for all his actions. Benny says if he has to give up Boo Boo, then he doesn't want the $10, so he makes a money origami of him and Boo Boo holding hands, and the origami floats away with Top Cat yelling "No!" in horror. Boo Boo and Benny reconcile with a hug, but Peter Potamus was eating a banana on the tracks, so the train crashes into him, making it fall over and everybody tumbles out. It was time for Benny to go, so he asks Boo Boo if he can hang out with him tomorrow. Yogi and Boo Boo discuss how Benny is gonna hang out with them during a week, and everybody leaves. The episode ends with Yankee Doodle trapped under the wreckage of the train, being sad as she calls for help and other ducks surround her. The end. My reaction to this video being my longest one, and doing 8 episode recaps in one. But anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe and more importantly, share the channel with the entire world for more episode recaps of cartoons. I'm Jacob Kasarjan, and I'll see you later. See ya!